Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Sean Butler TV. This is your Sunday, 12th of October transfer news, views, and clues update. I hope you're all happy and healthy. We're almost through the most boring part of October. We're breaking the back on the international week. One more week to go. But of course, January is just around the corner, and with it comes transfer news, views, and clues. Please smash the like button if you enjoy this sort of update. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment or two. Let me know your thoughts on any of the players and any of their potential moves as we go through the stories for you guys. Let's start with the left-sided left centre-back issue. Many clubs are looking for balance all the time. Left-footed players in that centre-back spot are a rare breed. They when they do come up and they are of high value, high potential, they're usually gobbled up pretty quickly. And there's a couple of names out this morning that will fit that kind of mould, that bill. First one is Tus Mavco, a Ukrainian player, plays out here for Dynamo Kiev, and valued at €6 million. I think he won the Ukrainian Defender of the Year or the Ukrainian League Defender of the Year award last year. 20 years old, highly rated, linked at the moment to Liverpool, to Chelsea, and to Manchester United. And look, I've taken a look at the player. I couldn't see too much on the way on YouTube that I was going to bore you with the highlight reel. So I went into the everything reel and took a look on Y-Scout. And look, I think he's a steady player. Looks strong, looks physical, looks like his positional sense is pretty spot on. Decent in the air, not spectacular in the air. I think his best asset for me is his long pings with his left foot into the channels. And as I've said before, I think on this channel, the reality is that every year that goes by, there seems to be a higher frequency, a higher propensity of defenders that make up the top 10 list of the most passes and the most accurate passes in the Premier League. That sort of trend has very much been one way for the last decade. And so if you're a team that wants to play possession-based football, then one of the prerequisites for your defensive reinforcements, whether they're young or first team, is to make sure that you are just as comfortable with the ball as you are at retrieving it if you don't have it. And this guy, Tus Mavco, for me, looks like a player that's really very impressive in that regard. Whatever the money will be for the player, it won't be a number that's prohibitive for any of the teams that are currently linked. And look, I don't think he'd be coming straight in, but like I say, everyone's got to keep one eye on the present and the other eye on the future. And this guy at 20 years old, look, according to reports, scout reports that have been going around for the last couple of weeks, he is someone that hasn't failed to impress when people have gone out to visit to see him. And so he might see him in the Premier League as early as January. In terms of how much will he cost? Like I say, I think something around 10 to 15 million will probably be the right price. But we shall see where he ends up and whether that will be a bidding war that will emerge between Manchester United and Chelsea and Liverpool. He has got a couple of goals as well this season already, which is quite impressive for a centre-back. Let's move on. But let's stick in the same position, guys. Castello Lukeba. Castello Lukeba, wonderful player, a player that Tottenham were linked with years ago when he was playing in France. He ended up joining RB Leipzig, another left-sided, left-footed player, and a player that I'm a big fan of. Listen, as a Tottenham fan, and I'll take my Tottenham hat off for a second, but as a Tottenham fan, I've been saying that whilst Tottenham do have 3 or 4, 5 young centre-backs that are potentially going to be good in a couple of years, none of them play with a left foot. They all play right foot preferred. And as I said before, it's nice to have that balance. It's important to have that balance to your game if you want to play possession football, especially where the centre-backs are responsible for a lot of the creative or a disproportionately higher amount of the catalyst for moves, if you like, in transition. And Castello Lukeba is also very young. He's only 22 years old, but a player that's certainly far further ahead in the recognition stakes than Mavco. Cost a fortune if you were trying to get him, because he plays for Leipzig, and Leipzig know how to value their players. And he hasn't failed to impress at all since moving to Germany. Really impressive player. I want to show you his stats just for a brief second, just to sort of show you what all that looks like. He, again, is someone that's very, very competent with the ball at his feet as well. But his defensive stats, his blocks, his interceptions, all those sorts of things are very, very impressive. I'll just scan through it very quickly for you, as you can see. In terms of the possession-based stuff, touches the ball. He's in the top sort of 15 percentile across all top five leagues in the Premier League. And he gets the ball into the final third, passes into the penalty area. He can sometimes play almost as a left back as well because of his ability to drive with the ball and run with the ball. Progressive carries, as you can see, progressive passes, all very, very impressive stuff. And just the most important thing, obviously, as a defender, can the guy defend? Where are the defensive stats here? I can't find them. 1 second. Here we go. You can see that he's also in the 96th percentile for passes blocked. For blocks overall, 91st percentile. Percentage of dribblers tackled. He's 80% of people that try to take him on, he comes away with the ball. 95 percentile for that particular metric. A wonderful, wonderful player. I'd love to see him at Tottenham, but he's not linked to Tottenham this morning. He's also linked with Chelsea, with Liverpool, and with United. Looks like those three teams are going after a left-footed, left-sided player to either bring in reinforcements or to cover long-term injuries that they have. And we'll see how that story emerges, guys. At the same time, of course, sticking with the centre-back spot, you have Marc Guehi. More and more rumours out every day about Guehi. He's going to be the name of the January window. Will Crystal Palace sell him? Could they convince him to sign a new contract? If they're going to sell him, how much will they get for him? Where will he go? Will he sign a free pre-contract arrangement with either Munich or with Real Madrid, or will he go to his preferred dream destination that he thought he was leaving to go to in the summer in Liverpool? You know, are Liverpool going to look at potentially someone like Lukeba instead? I think everyone would like to see, especially if you're an English team, Marc Guehi would be the player because he comes with the homegrown thing as well. And there's not that much ability for Crystal Palace to add an English tax when the guy only has 6 months left on his contract. Or will they just sit there and see how well Crystal Palace have started, that they will that it's almost worth keeping hold of him because him being in the team for the last 6 months might get them into the Champions League spots via the league, and therefore the £100 million or £80 million that they would make from additional funding, from prize money, from TV broadcast deals, etc., and sponsorship arrangements, all that stuff would certainly be worth it. Would be worth a £15 million hit of losing him now. You know, but if it doesn't work out that way, then it becomes problematic, doesn't it? What I would say is there's other rumours out today saying that Crystal Palace are more likely to let him go if they can secure a replacement. The likes of Max Kilman has been sort of banded around. Just quickly, you know, I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, but I have been saying, if you watch me on Spurs Talk Show on Football Inc., I have been saying for a while that, you know, everybody absolutely adores Marc Guehi, and they sit there and put him in the, you know, the top 5, top 8 centre backs in the Premier League. I've always thought he's a very good player. Or he's a good player, a very good player on his day. But whenever I've seen him live, I've always found him to have 3 or 4 good moments mixed in with a bit of a bozo moment as well. I've seen him misread the flights of balls plenty of times when playing against Tottenham. I've seen him, you know, miss time tackles, and I've seen him essentially get caught out a little bit by tricky wingers when he's having to cover into those areas. So I'm not sitting here saying he's not a great player, but I think a lot of people make out that he is, you know, the best defensive thing since sliced bread, and I don't see it. And to be entirely honest, I just wanted to share this take with you because this is coming out of Data MB. Now, again, I would never use just data alone to make my point, but it does support my eye test at times that Marc Guehi, compared to Ibrahim Konate, who, of course, Liverpool fear losing, and Upamecano of Bayern Munich, who is also of hot property right now, hot takes everywhere. Upamecano going to come to the Premier League in all likelihood, unless he signs a new contract with Bayern Munich. If he does, where will he go? Will he go to United? Will he go to Liverpool, etc.? And when you compare those three, just on this season alone, on, you know, pretty standardised metrics that are important, I don't think you can get away with it here. Now, Marc Guehi, apart from progressive passes, which, don't get me wrong, is important, is outperformed by Ibrahim Konate on carrying, on aerial duels won, on defensive duels. Look, he's below the 50th percentile on a lot of these things, on winning, on aerial duels percentage won, on defensive duels won, on forward pass percentages, on passes overall. I mean, it's not all about passing, but like I said before, when the trend over the last 10 years has been to seeing more and more of the top 10 passers in the Premier League every year being defenders, you can see that it's a transition that should be noteworthy to teams that want to play possession football, which any of the targets for Marc Guehi would do. And even possessions won. He's down there in like the bottom 23rd percentile or something. So, you know, I'm not saying that the stats are everything, but the stats are also stats, right? They are stats. And so, you know, it's worth considering whether or not the fight for Marc Guehi is as worth it as other opportunities that are out there. Upamecano, Champions League level, absolute baller, leadership guy. For me, I'd be more than happy to see someone like him come to my club to add a little bit of steel as well. And even Ibrahim Konate, like I say, I think his heart is set probably on Real Madrid. Anyway, again, just want to verify, I'm not saying that Marc Guehi isn't a good player. My only point is I think that sometimes he's a little bit over exaggerated how great he really is. Let's move on, guys. Next story for you is about Denzel Dumfries, the Inter Milan fullback, right back. There's a lot of stories out today that about with linking him with with Aston Villa, with Manchester United, and with Chelsea. According to Inter Live, Denzel Dumfries wants to move to the Premier League and is hoping for an approach from any of the big teams. His wage demands might prove to be a little bit too much. I think Aston Villa have walked away from the story or from the opportunity because of concerns regarding his recurring hamstring injuries and his high wage demands. Listen, hamstring injuries for players that do as much galloping up the pitch as he does is, it's going to be an issue. But when he's fit, when he is available, and when he is on, Denzel Dumfries is absolutely is an unbelievable player. He had a fantastic Champions League run last year for Inter Milan. I think he does have a £25 million release clause or euro release clause as well, which would be affordable. And that's, I guess, where you can figure out the difference. If you are a football club that have a wage structure and you're getting a player that, for all intents and purposes, is worth a lot more than £25 million or 25 million euros, then all you have to really sort of juggle in your mind is he worth the risk with the injury stuff? Because you can figure out a way to compensate the player to what he wants by adding him more in terms of bonuses or in terms of signing on fees or whatever else, if that's the way you want to go about it. Like, don't let the high wage demands necessarily be the precluding factor in getting the deal done. For me, I think the only concern with this guy is about his fitness. He's 29 years old as well, so there wouldn't be any sell-on value, but a brilliant player on his day. And I think, for what it's worth, he'd be the sort of player that would absolutely smash it in the Premier League. There's nothing about his game style that would be, for me, a concern. If you're looking for someone that can come in and do a job, then Denzel Dumfries will certainly be the guy. Let's move on, guys, with another story for you. Marcus Rashford, according to The Sun, Marcus Rashford, I think Barcelona's internal project, their plans are to trigger the purchase option for Marcus Rashford at the end of the season. He started over there really well, hasn't he? Again, I've been saying this to you guys for a while. You have to make the argument. I think you have to at least consider the argument whether are the players that Manchester United have bought and have been considered flops, are they really? Is it because of the players not being good enough, or is it because of the football club? It seems to happen all the time that these players go to Manchester United, and then when they leave on loan or otherwise, they seem to get a new breath of fresh air getting out of the fishbowl. You look at Anthony, you look at Sancho to a degree, you look at Garnacho to a degree, Andre Onana, the list, Hoyland, I'm sure Xerxes will do the same. The list goes on and on and on. So I don't always necessarily think that these players are bad or that Man United overpaid for them. I think it's just sometimes the consequence of being in a giant fishbowl like Manchester United that seem to have so many problems at the top that they have to figure out before they can really get back to the sort of club that they used to be. Talking about another team that wants to get back to the sort of club that they used to be, we have to go miles back for Tottenham to the 60s, but let's talk about Tottenham. Antoine Semenyo, according to Dean Jones, Tottenham Hotspur like Antoine Semenyo and are going to have conversations to outline other potential targets. Semenyo signed a new 5-year, 75 grand a week deal with Bournemouth early in the summer, and he would likely double that salary if he moved to North London, to the North London club in January. It may take an offer in excess of 80 million to get a deal done. I think it will take an offer in excess of 90 million to get the deal done, for me personally. For what it's worth, though, for people that are listening that might be Tottenham fans, there's a lot of rumours out this morning that Tottenham Hotspur, that the board, not the board, the sort of playing side of the managerial team, Thomas Frank, Johan Lang, Vinay, and the coaching staff are getting together. First and foremost, there's good news with regards to the £100 million. Apparently, that's not the last of it. Apparently, that's the first of a series of funding that will be determined once the managerial side of the football team get together and figure out what exactly is needed to compete. Well, it will be a lot more than £100 million. I think £300 or £400 million will be the sort of number that Tottenham would need to spend over the next sort of two windows to be able to really have a strong chance of trying to get back up into the onto the title sort of challenges where we were in Pochettino's last couple of years. We shall see, but there's rumours out this morning that Tottenham Hotspur manager Thomas Frank isn't particularly impressed with not just the forward line. He wants to see a lot more activity in the transfer market in that regard, but also maybe in the goalkeeping spot. Rumours are out there that Vicario is not deemed to be a safe enough pair of hands. Although all of the stats that are getting banded around at the moment seem to be suggesting that he's the top performing goalkeeper in the Premier League in terms of an overall performance score. That performance score is based on the percentage of shots that you faced and how many of them you saved, goals conceded, passing accuracy, aerial claims. It's a whole algorithm of different weighted metrics based on the various importance of those things. And that right now, Vicario is the number one goalkeeper in the Premier League. I don't think he breathes too much confidence, though, into the hearts and minds of Tottenham fans with some of his performances. I've always said I think he's a wonderful goalkeeper on instinct. I think the more time he has, the more flaky and sort of susceptible to pressure he can be. So I would like to see a new goalkeeper at Tottenham, but it's certainly not at the top of the priority list right now. But Antoine Semenyo would be absolutely sensational. But like I've said 1,000 times, I just don't see him coming to Tottenham. I think that the other team names that will be in for him will be able to compete financially. They'll have more of a draw because of their higher propensity to win trophies. And he's an Arsenal fan. So if Arsenal come calling, I don't want to see us put all of our eggs in that basket and then him go to Arsenal like what happened with Eberici Eze. Other stories out. The Daily Star are reporting, guys, that Manchester United are preparing a move for Adam Wharton. Listen, I think that Crystal Palace won't be able to let go of both Adam Wharton and Marc Guehi in January. That would just derail their season. But I do think Adam Wharton will eventually leave Crystal Palace, but it'll be for serious money. And it'll be interesting to see if Manchester United are the targets. I would love him at Tottenham. I'm sure most of you, whoever you are that's watching this and who you support, would love to see him come to your club. Next story for you, Josh Zirkzee is looking to go to Sunderland now. Rumours out this week have been that he was going to be loaned to West Ham or Everton in January. The rumours are this morning that maybe Sunderland are considering entering the race for a permanent move for Josh Zirkzee. Their owners not done with their spend, an unbelievable amount of spend. Nico Schlotterbeck. Now, there's a centre-back that most teams shouldn't overlook. What a player he is at Dortmund. He is being linked with Liverpool this morning. Again, another centre-back that Liverpool are looking at. It's important for Liverpool to go in that direction. Very good player. I think he would fit the Premier League as well. And listen, one of the top talents from a few years ago that was linked heavily with a lot of top Premier League clubs. Nothing ever materialised. And then his name sort of fell away from the zeitgeist a little bit in terms of transfer speculation. But very, very good player. And that would be a good signing for Liverpool if that was to happen. Other stories for you guys. The Malik Fofana, the unbelievable left winger at Lyon. According to a lot of reports this morning, Malik Fofana is expected to attract interest from a number of clubs in early 2026, with both Chelsea, Liverpool, and Tottenham among his suitors. I was speaking about him all summer. A little fella, doesn't have the sort of stature of like an Ademola Lookman or a Semenyo, that kind of physicality. But in terms of what he can do with the ball and how his low centre of gravity could just be a whirlwind of confusion for right backs to have to face. It'll be interesting to see if he comes to the Premier League, and I'd love to see him come to Tottenham. If we can't get him, I really don't want him to go somewhere else because he's a real talent for absolute certainty. Samu Aguhawa, Porto's big name youngster striker. Pete O'Rourke, journalist Pete O'Rourke, has been linking him with Chelsea for the last couple of days, saying that Chelsea actually came very close to signing Aguhawa a couple of transfer windows ago before the player decided to stay in Porto. He has an £86 million release clause in his contract. All Portuguese players, players from Portugal that are in Portugal rather, have massive release clauses. He won't go for anything like that. But listen, a very, very powerful player, fast, physical, an athlete that's very, very capable with both feet. He's got a lovely way of sort of leaning as he shoots with his left, and it creates this kind of curled whip. Unusual to see it, but it's very effective for him. I'm a big fan of Samuel Aguhawa, and it'd be interesting to see where he ends up, if he does at all. Another journalist, though, for what it's worth, Ekrem Kanor, is saying that Samu's release clause is estimated at higher, at 98.84 million euros. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if that's 86 million pounds, is 98.84, 100 million euros, whatever. Either way, he's being linked with West Ham. I can't see West Ham getting hold of Samuel. I think he'll go to a bigger club than that. But listen, I don't think he'll go for anything like that sort of money. I think he'll probably leave for about 44, 45 million quid. Something like that, guys. Last few stories for you out of for Newcastle fans. Sandro Tonali is reportedly the subject of an offer that is going to come in from Juventus that could involve Tottenham miners plus a cash sum. I tell you what, that's not a bad deal. Tonali for me has fallen off a little bit this year. He's not quite sort of getting the ball out from under his feet a little bit. And what an amazing player Tonali has been. Obviously, he's had his controversy and his struggles with his betting problems and things. But at 27 years old, probably the last chance to get decent money for him. But if you were to go and get Tottenham miners from Juve coming in the other direction, I mean, that is and some money as well. That's really not a bad outcome. I'm a massive fan of Coop Miners, and he's another player that I think wouldn't struggle at all to make it in the Premier League. Last story for you guys is Alexis Saelemaekers of AC Milan. He's being linked with everybody this morning. Journalist Ekrem Kanor is suggesting that Nottingham Forest are interested in Saelemaekers, that Aston Villa are interested in the player as well. 26 years old, a right winger. But apparently Saelemaekers wants to stay at AC Milan. He doesn't want to go. The Belgian player is expected to now sign a new contract with the team. And so those links are probably a little bit futile, I would imagine. I think that's about it, guys, for your transfer news, views, and clues update. Let me know your thoughts on any of the above, and let me know where you see your club prioritizing in the summer. Please do smash the like button if you enjoy these sort of quick updates. Hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop a comment, and I'll see you on the next one, as always.